But today's topic is that with a few bucks, not even a few bucks, like $1 or something, and if you have a tap and die set like this, you can create a non-bypass filter. Very simple, man. Take your screwdriver, pop it out. All right, this is a hot topic. People talk about this all the time, and this is the oil filter adapter to the block for a small block Chevy. This goes to the block, oil filter goes on, and that's what it looks like upside down. Now, there's always discussion of how it's mounted this way or that way. I'll get into that once I install this later on. And if you see this little round thing here, this is what they call a bypass. So most of you know what this is, what this does. And the whole controversy around this is that in initial startup of the engine, there is more, this spring tends to open up and allowing unfiltered oil to enter the engine and not being completely filtered. A lot of people have theories about that it says, oh, well, it doesn't open up unless it has to, if the filter is clogged or anything along those lines. And most others say that this is opened a lot more than you think, and it allows unfiltered oil to travel through the engine. Now, for a high performance or semi-high performance engine, we want to get rid of that. I do not want to have any oil bypassing the oil filter. I want everything to be clean as best as possible. Now, people are going to say, "Oh, you're going to balloon the filter, and it's not going to work, and you're going to, what if the filter clogs?" Well, my whole theory to that is that if the filter clogs, you got more problems than anything else. But also, if you have a problem with an engine, say camshaft lets go or something else goes out and sends metal shavings through the engine, if you have a bypass like this, and if it's bypassing oil, goes right back to your main bearings, you might be able to save the engine by filtering it out, or at least lessen the damage to the engine, in my theory. And then the other question is, well, startup, cold, and everything like that. Cold starts and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to have oil filtering through the engine. Unless you live in below zero Alaskan, Antarctica territory or something like that, oil is going to be thick as thieves, basically, trying to get through your engine. So that's a whole nother thing. But 99.99% of the people, you have oil in your engine when you start it up. I mean, if you didn't have oil in your engine starting it up, then the engine wouldn't work, period. So that's my theory, and that's my take on that. You can do whatever you want. But today's topic is that with a few bucks, not even a few bucks, like $1 or something, and if you have a tap and die set like this, you can create a non-bypass filter or housing for pennies on the dollar instead of having to go out and buy one, because they do sell ones that don't have this bypass in here. So on most of my small block Chevys or anything like that, I take this out, I tap it, and I want to have 100% filtration at all times. And let's face it, guys, most of us who own these engines, who do stuff like this, we change our oil on a regular basis. We don't let it go 10,000 miles or more without an oil change. And also, this is just a safety mechanism, I think. This is really not, that's for your average Joe that doesn't want to change oil and goes 20,000 miles, and to help save the engine or whatever it is, or or whatever it is, I don't care. So today what we're going to do is that we're going to show you how to take this apart, put this plug in there, and yeah, let's get into it. All right. Very simple, man. Take your screwdriver, pop it out. You're left with a hole. And all we're doing is just tapping the hole, putting a plug in there. That's it. That's all we're doing. Very simple. You don't need this Just throw that away. And then the saying goes, if this monkey can do it, you can do it. Because I'm not too smart, but I try. Go to Harbor Freight, get something like this. This is a 1/4 inch pipe thread from Home Depot. You can see, very simple. And if you've never tapped anything before, just take your time. This is what a tap and die looks like in a small set. Most people have a bigger set. So I have different varieties of this stuff. It's cheap Harbor Freight stuff, you know, hey, it is what it is. What we're using right now is the 1/4 inch, or 1/4 inch NPT. So there's a couple ways you can check to see if you have the right tap, because it comes in a tap and a die. So the die, this is the quick lessons of how this tap and die stuff works. Basically, this is to clean the threads or make threads on an item, but you can check to see if you got the right size. So if you got a boogered up bolt or anything like that, you can run one of these through here and clean up the thread if it's not too far gone, or create your own thread. And of course, I don't have the proper handle. This came with another kit. This is supposed to fit into here, but it's actually too small to fit into here. But this is what a proper handle would look like for something like this. But in a pinch, you can use a socket and a ratchet. Could be a little more careful on here. Little dibby dab oil. Tiny bit. Let's see if this works. So aluminum is pretty actually easy to go through. It'll probably take 2 seconds to do this. Metal, as far as other metals, steel, all that kind of stuff, cast iron, it's going to be a little bit harder. That's why I would suggest using a handle like this, but this kit doesn't come with it. So, you know, it is what it is. It's just basic stuff. So basically, you're just going into the actual hole. Let's get this the right way. Kind of centering it, feeling it, and just turning. And you can see that it's going through the hole. Go down. You can see how it's cutting the thread here. And again, you want to clean it out, do what you got to do. Make sure everything's clean. You don't want to put metal shavings into your engine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to back out a little bit and work it in. Now we've made our thread in there. Again, we're going to clean it and everything. See how nice that thread is? Yeah, always. Okay. See what we're doing? And now, when you put that onto the engine, it's blocked. Very simple, a couple of bucks. If you got a tap and die set already, whatever it is, I think these are like 20 bucks or something like that, Harbor Freight, if you don't have a set already. And people can say, oh, well, you could buy one for 20 bucks or anything like that. Yeah, you can, but this tool will be with you forever. So it could be for other projects. You can do it yourself, or if you already have it in the shop or a buddy shop that has one, it takes them 5 minutes to do it. Also, one keynote to doing this, as far as putting the brass plug in here, you can see I did that. I put a little thread sealer in there, but you also have to be mindful, depending on which plug you get, it's going to protrude just a little bit outside of here. So what I did is I just grounded it down, made it super flat. And the reason what you got to look out for is, remember, the oil filter sits on top of this, like so. So it has to be flush with the housing. It's brass. It's very soft. It's very easy to grind down. It's not that. I just used a grinding wheel from, you know, anything. You can use a file or whatever like that, but make sure it's nice and flush and smooth. And just test fit your oil filter adapter to the filter and make sure it actually sits flush. Now you gotta remember, it's gonna be like, it's not gonna go all the way down to the edge of the filter over here, because you remember you got the rubber gasket over here, which raises it up just ever so slightly. But yeah, these are little details you gotta look out for when doing this. Couple of minutes worth of work. That's it. All right.